He's been running on fumes for weeks. And now he's finally ran out of gas. Welcome back to Fog Football. Breaking news. Did not expect this. Brendan Rodgers has resigned as Celtic manager. And Martin O'Neill is returning. So you got a shock with Brendan. And then Martin O'Neill's in the door. Thoughts on that, Jambo Bear?
Brendan Rodgers, he's pulled the sports Range Rover over to the side of the road. He's opened the door and he's made a run for it. He's realised that this car isn't good enough to get him to the finish line. Hearts are miles ahead and he has bottled it. What an absolute loser. He's fucking bottled this. No respect for Brendan Rodgers whatsoever. Fearing that he couldn't do the job. Probably fearing Rangers next week as well. And he's left the club. That's embarrassing. I'm going to do my 3 years. And just when the going gets tough, he runs away back down south. That's pathetic of Brendan Rodgers.
Yeah, I think it's pathetic. People always talk about, he's seen off this guy, Soon as he gets...
Dennis has seen off Brendan Rodgers.
Yep.
Danny Rowe has seen off Brendan Rodgers.
Danny Rowe.
David Gray's seen off Brendan Rodgers.
Stephen Presley seen off Brendan Rodgers.
Right enough. Stephen Presley beat Rodgers in the sack race.
I mean, imagine that. Unthinkable.
The only thing worse than getting sacked is actually quitting. At least, go down on your shield.
Yep. Now, a club statement reveals Rodgers offered his resignation, which was accepted. So, it doesn't look like he was coerced into this. It looks like Rodgers has simply went, no, I can't hack it. I can't hack the Jambos. I can't hack Danny Rowe. I can't hack Davy Gray. I can't hack Stephen Presley. I'm away.
Yeah, but I mean, let's actually be serious for a minute. Let's say he did resign because he wasn't happy with the transfer window or he wasn't happy with the funding.
Should have done that in September.
Him doing that, yeah, he could have done it earlier. But if he'd done that and Celtic were in a healthier position, you could be like, well, fair enough, because maybe his goal was to make a dent in the Champions League and they've not done that. But domestically, they're a shambles. He's run away 8 points behind Hearts. You can spin it whatever way you want. How much money does Celtic need to spend to be putting in a title fight? I'm not. They didn't spend 50 million, so they can't beat Kyrat. They didn't spend 50 million, so they can't beat Dundee. Saying that you can argue that the transfer window maybe led to their demise in Europe, even though they should still be beating Kyrat. That's what I mean. It's not like they've qualified for the Champions League and just not lived up to last year's expectations. They've been fucking shite on all fronts, and this guy has just walked away.
Yeah.
He's walked away. Walking away, the Celtic way, the Brendan way. Done it twice now. At least the first time he done it, he had a bit of success behind him.
I mean, people talk...
To me, this makes his titles irrelevant. He's walked away 8 points behind. I think that is unforgivable.
I mean, people talked about he might resign if he drops points to Falkirk and then he loses to Rangers in the Cup. I didn't expect this. I didn't even expect him to do it then, but I can't believe he's walked away. I mean, I'm actually bewildered by this.
People can't spin this and pretend, look, Rodgers is doing the right thing. Still can't blame the Celtic board. They can't say, Rodgers walked away with his head held high. No, he's walked away trailing Hearts by 8 points. That's what he's done. Yeah,
I mean, Yusuf Shermiti scores a goal and Brendan Rodgers just wants to bail. He couldn't hack it.
Yusuf Shermiti has seen off Brendan Rodgers.
I mean, how many? I've never seen so many people see off one guy, but I mean...
We need to get Shermiti dressed up as the Grim Reaper.
Yeah, Martin O'Neill with Sean Maloney as the new interim managerial team. I'll be honest, I didn't want that. I wanted Brendan Rodgers on Sunday. I didn't want Martin O'Neill. I mean, I can't even... I was listening to Martin O'Neill on TalkSport about 4 hours ago, talking with Jim White, talking about how shite Rodgers is. And now we're sitting here talking about Martin O'Neill in the hot seat. What the fuck's going on?
You say that, but let's say Martin and Maloney come in and they do a good job in the meantime during this interim period. Is that not just making Rodgers look even worse?
Yeah, I would agree. Is there going to be a bounce? But I mean, I think there is going to be a form of bounce.
If there is a bounce, though, that would suggest, well, it's not just all down to the players, and it's not just all down to lack of investment for the board. If we do see an improvement in the Celtic team, in the style of play and the results, then Rodgers is going to have to be the one to take the blame.
And does this increase the pressure on the Celtic board? Are fans going to be calling out the Celtic board on Wednesday? What's that going to be like? Because I mean, there's a lot of people that wanted Rodgers to stay, or at least liked them until a couple of games ago.
Yeah, they can call it what they want. It doesn't matter what happens. Rodgers has lost the title.
No,
Celtic could come back and win it. Celtic can come back and win it by 50 points. Won't matter shit. Rodgers hasn't done it. Rodgers has lost the league title to Derek McInnes, and that's a fact. That's factual.
No, you're right.
8 points clear, and he's bottled it.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe Celtic. Who knows? Maybe they will still come back and win the league. I'd say they're probably still favourites, but I mean, Brendan Rodgers, he can't take any credit for that because he's looked at the gap and he's thought, I ain't going to turn this around. And why would he resign? See if he had faith that he could come back and win the league, he would see it as 3 years. Resigning, I mean, he's not going to get his money. He would see it as contract. He would see it as promise that he made to the Celtic fans. He would add an extra few trophies onto his CV, and it would help him get a better job in England.
Tony,
for me, this has left his career in a mess. How can he walk back into a Premier League job now, leaving Scotland?
Yeah,
points behind Hearts?
I can't believe he's resigned. Just for all those reasons, because it's not just Celtic's career season he had to save. He had to save his own, and I don't see where he goes now.
I think rather than being a man and potentially losing the league to Hearts over 38 games, I think he's taking the easy way out. And now he'll always be able to say, well, I left in October. Well, for me, you didn't leave, you've just conceded the league title. That's what he's done.
Speaking of easy way out, remember Rocky? No easy way out in the Lamborghini. What's Rodgers?
There's no easy. Well, I mean, Rodgers was no driving a Lamborghini at any time this season, I can tell you that.
Nope, he will not be, but yeah,
well,
folks.
The speed that he left Celtic, maybe he was driving out of Glasgow one day because he couldn't get out there quick enough.
If Celtic fans want to claim that Ange seen off Gerrard, who was sitting points clear of Ange, then everybody has seen off Rodgers here, especially Derek McInnes and Tony Bloom. It's crazy. I don't even. This.
No, honestly, all joking aside, Rodgers has been down in my estimation.
Yeah, I think this is a guy that shat it.
But what is sad is you're going to have a lot of people, you're going to have a lot of Celtic fans that come out and back him and say it's not his fault. They're going to blame the board. But at the end of the day, Rodgers is the one that's quit. Rodgers is the one that didn't feel he was capable.
The first time it truly got tough, he's fucking bottled it and shat it.
Yeah, it's mental.
Like because they're 8 points behind in an injury crisis. Other times, I mean, yeah, Rangers overtook them at a point 2 seasons ago. They were like a point ahead, but that was a fight. I'm not saying this ain't a fight, but he's 8 points behind, and yeah, he's fucking shat it, man. There's no real excuse in this. And like you've said, he's been doing your estimation. I think he's been doing a lot of people's estimation. I cannot believe we are talking about the guy resigning. I could not fucking believe it when I seen it. I was like, what? And then Martin O'Neill, after how many years out of management, is back?
Crazy.
20 years after his first Celtic spell. And what is it with Celtic and just getting guys for a second spell? Lennon, Rodgers, Martin O'Neill now. Ange will probably be next. What the fuck's going on?
Do you think Ange could be the man that comes in?
Yeah, no, I mean, maybe what people will say is Lennon should have did this during the COVID season. He didn't, and they had to sack him. Before. You could argue Rodgers could go down as a hero if Hearts turn this season around, but for me, I think he's going to go down as a shite bag.
Yeah, but you say he goes down as a hero.
Well, it depends.
If Ange comes back and wins the title, it's fucking Rodgers hasn't done nothing. Rodgers has walked away.
Yeah, no, I know. I wonder what Chris Sutton's thoughts on this now. No, the big.
I mean, Chris Sutton, he'll blame it on he'll blame it on recruitment or Chris Boyd or somebody. Certainly won't hold Brendan Rodgers accountable.
Yeah. I mean, Martin O'Neill, I can't believe it, man. I mean, that is fucking insane, by the way. That is... I mean, Rodgers resigned. I mean, if Hearts can't win the league this year, then what can they do? I mean, it's fucking... It's up and down, up and down, up and down. Crazy.
The only thing, I mean, it could be a negative for Hearts, so if Celtic get the right appointment.
Well, no, I totally agree. But I don't care. Even if Celtic do get the right appointment, that team is still... It's not... I don't think it's just going to be an easy fix. There's still injuries. But at the same time, it'd be hypocritical to say a new guy couldn't do anything, because we've been saying for weeks now that Rodgers has not done a good enough job. So we'll have to wait and see. I would expect Martin O'Neill to do better than what Rodgers has done recently, but that's because there's been a lot of defeats and draws recently.
But Martin O'Neill, he's been at work for a long time.
Yep, Sean Maloney.
Andy's old. I mean, is he not like in his 70s now?
Yep.
We're not talking a guy that is fresh and... I don't know.
Dermot Desmond released a statement. Jambo Bear dying there. Dermot Desmond said, "However, I must also express my deep disappointment at the way the past several months have unfolded." So he's not happy. Oh, that's what he says about Brendan. When we brought Brendan back to Celtic 2 years ago, it was done with complete trust and belief in his ability to lead the club into a new era of sustained success. Unfortunately, his conduct and communication in recent months have not reflected that trust. In June, Michael Nicholson and I expressed to Brendan that we were keen to offer him a contract extension to reaffirm the club's full backing and long-term commitment to him. He said he would need to think about it and refer, yet in subsequent press conferences, Brendan implied that the club had made no commitment to offer him a contract. That was simply untrue. We met with Brendan regularly, including in December last year and at the start of the summer, with regular dialogue in between to discuss and agree our collective strategy, priorities and approach. Every player signed and every player sold during his tenure was done so with Brendan's full knowledge, approval and endorsement. So, again, I think we're looking at a situation here. Could it just be a simple case of the board didn't want to back him because he wasn't willing to re-sign, and they're both...
That's what it seems like to me.
They're both at blame. I'm not saying... I mean, you can put whatever percentage of blame you want on whatever side, right? But you cannot blame the Celtic board for not spending money on a guy that's not willing to commit.
Yeah, and listen, a lot of Celtic fans have been saying they're unsure about this. They were unsure about this January transfer window because Rodgers was, going to be leaving at the end of the year, and they didn't think the Celtic were going to spend money. But
yeah.
If that's the logic you're using, then you could say that, well, why maybe the Celtic board, they were perhaps reluctant to spend big money in the summer because Brendan Rodgers wasn't committing his future for the club. Yep. So perhaps they didn't want to go and make record-defining transfers for a manager that was maybe going to go and lead them.
I tell you what.
In the following year. So it goes both ways. Like,
Dermot Desmond.
See if Rodgers committed his future. See if Rodgers in June signed a 3-year extension or a 2-year extension. I'm convinced Celtic would have had a better transfer window.
Yeah, I agree, but Dermot Desmond has absolutely fucking blasted this guy. He talks about... I might need to make a separate vid on this because there's a lot to get into, but he talks about... They met for hours at his home. Rodgers, despite ample opportunity, he was unable to identify a single instance where the club had obstructed or failed to support him. The facts did not match his public narrative. Regrettably, his words and actions since then have been divisive, misleading and self-serving. They have contributed to a toxic atmosphere around the club and fueled hostility towards members of the executive team and the board. Some of the abuse directed at them and at their families has been unwarranted and unacceptable. What has failed recently was not due to the structure or module, but to one individual's desire for self-preservation at the expense of others. So Brendan Rodgers, maybe this is the board playing the blame game, but they are fucking going in on Brendan Rodgers. They are not hanging about here. They are pinning the last few months in this season so far on Rodgers. There's no two ways about it.
I mean, you could argue that if the board felt this strongly about Rodgers, then why didn't they just sack him?
Yeah. But, I mean...
So, listen, I don't think anyone's resolved of any blame. To me, I think all parties can take some responsibility.
Yeah, I mean...
But if the board feel like Brendan Rodgers has been such a detriment to the club over the past few months, then why did they let it get this bad? Why did they let Brendan Rodgers come out in public and basically, according to them, lie and throw the board under the bus?
Now, we talk about boards, right? And I've talked so much about Tellwell, right? And they spin the truth and they spin narratives, right? But I don't think that Dermot Desmond is making up that he went to Rodgers' house for 3 hours and that Rodgers was unable to come up with a single instance or example where the club failed him or obstructed him. That sounds true, and it seems like I've got to lean with agreeance with the Celtic board here. It does look like a guy that's tried to self-preserve himself, but while attacking the board.
No, I agree.
Because if Rodgers didn't, because he was talking in press conferences about the signing guys I don't want. Recently the Honda Civic, all that good stuff, right? If he was coming out and if he just agreed to a deal, none of this would have happened. And he honestly, if you're looking at someone that was funneling this like toxic atmosphere, he's one of the guys that was doing it the most. He was the one having a go at the players.
He was the one peddling it.
Yeah, so, yeah, folks, I might need to do a separate vid in this Dermot Desmond statement because it's very fucking long, but I just pinned a few things from it there, but I think that's pathetic. He's right, though. If Rodgers was bashing them in the public eye, and then when they're having private meetings, he's unable to come up with one example or or one instance, I think that's embarrassing. That does scream self-preservation.
And well, to be fair, Brendan Rodgers can... if he wants, he can call Desmond's bluff and he can come out and he can publicly give one example now.
Yeah, we could be looking at a war of words. Either or. We've seen Rodgers throw the board under the bus, and he's began in recent weeks to throw the team under the bus. And he talked about how many signings he didn't want. Oh, they're Celtic, they're club signings. They're not me. They're board signings. But Dermot Desmond's contradicted that by saying every single signing in and out has went through Rodgers. And Boyd's been saying that for weeks, that everybody that Celtic sign goes through Rodgers, while at Rangers it's not doing that, it's going through like Tellwell and co. So who knows, guys, there's going to be more fallout to this, but yeah, Rodgers has resigned.
Well, Brendan Rodgers is the manager.
Yep.
Rangers are a head coach.
Yes, that is the difference there. Anyway, Martin O'Neill returns. I think we'll talk about that at a later date, because it's just fucking blew up here. Dermot Desmond has went right through Rodgers.
Fucking I don't know what barely speak on the discussion of manager head coach. I think I prefer the manager template. I definitely think a manager should be the one that is bringing in his own players. Not a big fan of this whole head coach role, even though he has worked well for Hearts right now. Devin McInnes is top of the table, but I think history shows it. But maybe we need to move on with the times. Maybe we are going in a direction now where...
No, history does show, but I think with the Jamestown analytics, if they've got analytics that prove that these guys are good for Scottish football, then that makes sense. But when you have boards that don't have a clue, Rangers, then it doesn't work. Anyway, guys, we're going to leave it there.
I know, I'm just saying, I'm obviously growing up in an era. I remember watching the Premier League. You've got Fergie and Wenger fighting for the title. I just couldn't imagine those managers just having to accept random players getting thrown into their team.
Yeah.
Because those guys were so adamant on the type of players that they wanted, and they had their own market that they would go into, and it's just, I don't know, it's strange. But I guess it works for some clubs. Maybe it doesn't work for other clubs.
We'll end it on this because I think this is hilarious. When I was listening to Martin O'Neill on TalkSport, he said Hearts would win the league, and now he's managing Celtic. So, how the fuck is it? How's that? Yeah, and I say this morning he was on it fucking in the afternoon. So how's that happened? Fucking absolutely crazy. Anyway, guys, leave your thoughts down below. Desmond.
Dermot Desmond said.
Yep. This Ryan118 said about Dermot Desmond. Fuck that rat cunt Desmond, by the way. Horrid bastard. Get out of our club. So that's a nice wee thing there for Ryan118 about Dermot Desmond. Anyway, guys, we'll leave it there.
Soy Boy 118 there. I knew he was going to lick Rodgers' arse. I mean, he was always going to defend Rodgers.
It was always gonna happen, brother. Anyway, till next time.
I wouldn't be surprised if he's sharing a taxi with Rodgers leaving Glasgow.
He might be. he might be. It's a Honda Civic he's sharing. It's a Honda Civic.
Dermot Desmond said he went to Rodgers' house for 3 hours. I'm sure Ryan118 would probably want to stay the night. But anyway, I think we'll end it there.
We'll end it there, guys. Till next time. Peace.